Power boaters in Cape Coral always talk about how they hate the miserable mile because you have to idle through. But what if I told you you could go 100 miles an hour right through the miserable mile, past the Marine Patrol, and never get a ticket? Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, if we've never met, my name is David Meyers. I'm a real estate agent with EXP Realty here in Cape Coral, Florida. I specialize in waterfront property here in Cape Coral, and I have done since 2003. Now, one of the things that people always talk about is the miserable mile. Everybody hates to go through the miserable mile because you have to idle, and it's jam-packed with boats, and everybody always talks about miserable mile this, miserable mile that. But maybe you didn't know this, but the miserable mile isn't actually where most people think it is. I'm going to put a chart up on the screen here so that you can see what people commonly refer to as the miserable mile is the slow zone that starts at Shell Island, and it's really called the Shell Island Cut. And that slow zone is the last slow zone that you'd have to go through from any home in Cape Coral to get to unlimited speed and the open water. In the yacht club, if you live in units 4, 5, 3, 64, 67, or on the west side of town, up the Spreader Canal, Cape Harbor over there, it's the only slow zone that you have to go through on the way to open water, out to the Sanibel beaches, over to Picnic Island, up to Captiva, wherever it is that you're going for a day of boating. That section is the only slow zone that you have to go through. So everybody always calls it the miserable mile, but what a lot of people don't know is the miserable mile is actually not the slow zone through the Shell Island Cut. The Shell Island Cut is called the Shell Island Cut. It starts at the slow zone where you're like kind of right in front of Glover's Bight, and it goes all the way down to Marker 101. When you get to Marker 101, it's unlimited speed. You can go out to the Gulf, down under the Sanibel Causeway, or you can turn right and go past Picnic Island. That section of water is actually the miserable mile. And it was called the miserable mile not by power boaters because they had to go slow, but by sailboaters because the channel is so narrow and it's unlimited speed. So for a sailboat coming through that part of the water, if you've ever been out there between Picnic Island and St. James City and that stretch going through, the channel is really super narrow. And sailboats, because they have draft considerations, they have to stay in the middle of the channel. And power boats that have just gone through what they think is the miserable mile, which is really the Shell Island Cut, are on plane, ready to rock, and just busting through there at crazy speeds. Big power boats, like 40, 50, 60 footers, put out huge wakes even when they're on plane because they just are so heavy. And as those boats come through in both directions, sailboats just get completely rocked. So that section of water, that waterway between Marker 101 heading southwest out towards Picnic Island and, you know, the intercoastal going elsewhere to the west is actually the miserable mile. So when you get here and you're new and you hear people talk about the miserable mile, most often they're talking about the Shell Island Cut. And that's basically because power boaters, it's miserable for them because they have to come off plane, go slow. There's a lot of traffic abreast, and you know everybody's moving through there. On the weekends, there are just tons of boats. So that section is what power boaters are usually referring to when they say the miserable mile. But because you watch this video, you'll actually be in the know and know that the miserable mile is the section heading southwest, the narrow channel that starts at Marker 101, where the speed limit is unrestricted from the Shell Island Cut, and heading southwest, ending kind of right past Picnic Island. So now you know, when people say miserable mile, they're probably talking about the Shell Island Cut. And when you're telling your boating stories, you can use the proper terminology, even though a lot of people here will misunderstand you. All right? So I have a lot more to say about boating, channel markers, and things like that because it's super confusing around here, the way that channels are marked. I'm going to get to that in another video. If you have questions about boating in Cape Coral, waterfront property, or just real estate in general. I'm always happy to answer any of your questions, even if you're not going to buy for 2 years and you're just starting to look. The best time to get your questions answered is now, because then you're not going to waste a bunch of time looking at properties that probably won't suit your purposes or meet your needs or fit your lifestyle. So if you want to give me a call, I'm always happy to take your call. My telephone number is 239-529-0555. My email address is waterfrontluxury@gmail.com. Now, if you're watching this video on Facebook, you can like my page so that you'll see future videos when they come out. If you're watching this on YouTube, then subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification icon so that when new videos come out, you'll be alerted right away. If there's anything that I can do for you in the meantime, just reach out, call, text, email, message, however you feel comfortable getting in contact. And until then, I'll see you out on the waterfront.